What had happened was I'm back in the car doing a what had happened was because it's almost 8 o'clock and I'm picking up some dinner for my family. But today is Sunday. It is January the 9th, second Sunday of the year. I've been doing for the last, I don't know, few months this video called What Had Happened Was. So I want to walk through my Sunday morning. That's typically why I do the What Had Happened Was. If you like these videos, man, like them, share them, subscribe to the channel to get notifications, click on the little bell so you'll be notified when I do them. If you don't like them, you don't have to watch them, just move along. I do this really to clear my mind. If you don't know who I am, then you probably don't know what's on my mind. I pastor a church in Durham, North Carolina, and after a Sunday of worship experiences and preaching a couple of times and leading people, I just need to clear my mind. And the best way that I have found to do that, for me, just works for me, is just record a video. And I started sharing them and people started telling me they liked them. They send me messages and say, that's great, I got something from that. And that's what I'm doing. What had happened was, so I did a rare What Had Happened Was Saturday night edition last night. And today I'm doing one to recap my day. So the only people in my house that went to church today were me, my 17-year-old son. The rest of my family was unable to go due to some sickness in our home. So they were not at church and I was. My assistant, who also practically leads the volunteers, she wasn't able to come to church today either. Our worship leader, she wasn't able to come to church either. There were just, our sound leader, he wasn't able to come to church. There were a ton of leaders that weren't able, these are not just normal people, man. They are the people that make the church run. They serve week in and week out to make it happen. And so today was a true test of how well they have led up until this moment. With all of the changes, we had a really good attendance. We had a lot of first-time guests join our church. A lot of children visit the kids ministry. My wife, who happens to be the kids leader of all the family ministries, she was out. A lot of kids visited her ministry, a ton of new people in the room, and it was like crazy. And I heard nothing but good reports, nothing but thumbs up. Our worship was good to go. Sound sounded great. That's a good indication that those leaders are leading well. And kids was great, man. Things went off without a hitch, to be honest with you, to my knowledge. So that was cool. I was preaching from John chapter 6. I'm preaching through the entire book of John, and I'm helping our church memorize the first a story from each chapter so that we can recall it. John chapter 1, Jesus is divine. John chapter 2, he turned water into wine. John chapter 3, you must be born again, the Nicodemus story. John chapter 4 is about the Samaritan woman at the well, has an encounter with Jesus. John chapter 5, Jesus makes his way to the cross. The whole idea, they want to kill him because he's healing on the Sabbath. The whole idea of John chapter 5, which I think is the complete number of one hand, is Jesus is just doing what he saw his Father do. John chapter 6, we started today. The best way to remember that is supper time is at 6 o'clock, and Jesus feeds the 5,000 people. It's a miraculous story, even though we see Philip and Andrew make excuses. And after they're done making excuses, Jesus still feeds the 5,000, but he doesn't just feed them enough food. He feeds them more than enough food, and there are 12 baskets of extra food left over. And the principle was this: you can't hold on to excuses and receive the extra that God has for you. I can't tell you how many people I believe in my heart are missing out on the extra that God has for them because they hold on to the excuses. It's too risky. I don't have enough resources. It's an excuse to miss out on the extra. And then after these miraculous signs, we see the people. John says that Jesus saw that they were ready to force him to be their king. And instead of Jesus becoming their king, he slips away. And why does he slip away? Because he didn't come to be a government official of Rome. He came to be God of the world. He came to be king of the world, not king of Rome. And they were ready to put him in political office. And he's not coming to run for a term. He's coming to be king of the world for eternity. And so I invited people to remove excuses and receive the extra that God has for them. I challenged people to consider giving to their church, to God, despite the excuses that they've made, to consider serving despite the excuses, to consider leading, to remove all excuses that they could do everything God wants them to do. And then I came home from service, got the report, the numbers. Our attendance was pretty good. Wasn't what I wish it could be. I always wish it could be more, but it wasn't bad considering all things going on in the world. Got home, we had some amazing soup, potato soup, some, what's the other one? Tomato basil soup. It was incredible. And then I got my chainsaw out. Come on, somebody. And I went outside, and I have crepe myrtles down my driveway, and I hope I didn't crepe murder them as I cut back the crepe myrtles so they would be ready this coming summer. And then that just fired me up so much that I got my hedge trimmers out that a buddy of mine let me borrow, and I went outside and I trimmed up the hedges, and I had a blast doing it. And I got sweaty, and I got hot, and I got nasty. And my daughter, Ella, while I was taking a shower, she made me a nice big glass of ice water and put a note that said, "To Daddy from Ella." Just before I left the house after showering up, I yelled at her, "Thank you for my water." And she said, "I saw that you were hot and sweaty." Ella found a way to serve instead of making excuses. I gotta say though, Braden and Jacob did help me get up some of the limbs, and Reagan actually even moved a few of the crepe myrtle limbs. Then I drove to the church, met a friend who brought a construction contractor, and we sat in the building waiting for the rain to start. Why were we waiting for the rain to start? Because when it rains, our roof is leaking. And so we had a contractor, it started raining, they found the leak. I don't know how much it's gonna cost us to fix it, but we're gonna have to fix it. They found it. It's worse than we thought it was. It's been going on for longer than we knew about. The wood is rotten, so we got to replace some wood around the steeple, this beautiful part of the church, and then replace the flashing. But guess what? I'm not worried about it, because we have a church group of people. Our church members are people that find a way to yes. And they'll give to meet the financial need to fix this, and we'll make it happen, and things will be dry at our church. And now it's almost 8 o'clock. Dinner is ready. I'm in front of Panera Bread, about to stop this video, go inside, pick up my wife's food and my food, and I've already got the Zaxby's food right there for the kids. And then I'm going home for a night. And guess what? I'm gonna do it all over again. As I go ahead and go home tonight, I'm gonna start studying the last part of John chapter 6, because after he feeds 5,000, he explains what the food really means right after he walks on water. Next week, John 6 is gonna be great. We're gonna wrap up John 6 and get ready for John chapter 7. I hope if you live in the Durham area, you'll make plans to join us at Revive Church, 9:45 or 11 o'clock every single Sunday. 2031 West Club Boulevard, which is also the verse in John that you can find the entire meaning of the entire book of John, found in John chapter 20, verse 31. Read it. Why? So you can continue to believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God. And by believing in him, you will have life. And that's what I want for you. I'm removing all the excuses, and I'm finding a way to yes, to helping you, yes, you, have life. That's a wrap. This episode of What Had Happened Was. See you next time. Bye, everybody.